Back up on HQ, taking a look at your NFC playoff picture following play here in Week 11, Mac.
Yes, sir.
In some places, they distance. In others, they tighten.
Oh, look at this.
The distancing belongs to those Lions. Yes, the Eagles, a game off them in both columns, but Lions appear to be head and shoulders better than the rest, and then 5-5 still alive, as that takes us squarely to a divisional race in the NFC West. All right, Mac, let's dive in, and I want to start there at the top with the one-loss Lions, who are now on the longest winning streak in the NFL currently.
Yep.
How much better are they than everybody else? The Eagles look like a comprehensive team, maybe still ironing out some issues, but when you're talking about the road through the NFC, certainly looks like it's going to go through Ford Field.
I think there's a big gap of separation between the Lions and the rest of the NFC, solely because of the balance they have on the offensive side. When you look at how well they play offense. Well, of course, Jared Goff has been one of the more applauded quarterbacks in the National Football League with his efficiency, but it doesn't start with Jared Goff. It starts with the guys who put their hand in the dirt, the offensive linemen. They have the best offensive line unit in the NFL, and they continue to display their dominance in the running game or in the passing game. So they can kind of pick or choose how they want to dominate against their said defense they're facing off against. And then you add the personnel they have. They have two RB1s, and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They have two wide receiver ones, in my opinion, in St. Brown. And now when you look at what Jameson Williams has done, and don't forget about Sam Laporta, who hasn't really been a vocal point in the offense because of injuries and, of course, just distributing the football equally to other guys. He could be a dominating presence as well, and he didn't play against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they have so many different options that they can go ahead and just get the football to and allow those players to do what they've been called to do.
Offensive line coaches love to use the phrase find work. This is a group up front that's always finding work. They are physical. And how many teams can you really count on that front five to always be there the way the Lions are?
And go back to last year's Lions defense. The Achilles heel or biggest concern was the secondary, right? They have become a strong point for their defense. When you look at what Joseph has done, they have arguably the two best safeties in the National Football League, in Joseph and Brian Branch. Adding Carlton Davis provides he's that CB1. And you look at the issues on the defensive line, not having Aiden Hutchinson. Yes, you get Zadarius Smith into the fold, but until they find a way to work things out, the secondary actually helps the defensive linemen.
Yeah.
Because we all thought it would be a big drop-off, potentially, not having Aiden Hutchinson in the fold.
And we look at them in the context of what happened a year ago, the heartbreak on the doorstep of going to a place they'd never gone before. This looks like a team hell-bent on getting back there and beyond. Let's turn our attention to the Seahawks now, and maybe looking through the Seahawks lens at the 49ers. Are you panicked? Like, where's your worry level with the San Francisco 49ers amidst this race in the NFC West?
I'm not panicked at all, because winning against San Francisco today was huge, because they have no room for error. But that also shows or tells all of us this is a team that can be very, very competitive.
I mean, look
if
at
they
this.
just get out of their own way. They've been their biggest issue. Untimely turnovers, bad penalties. In today's matchup, they played fairly good football. I mean, they were efficient in the red zone. They only had 4 penalties in this ballgame compared to 9 by the San Francisco 49ers. Now, can they sustain that level of smart play? That has been the issue for Seattle, because they have dudes. They have a quarterback in Geno Smith. They have a running back in Kenneth Walker. You look at the wide receivers, they have dudes, and hopefully they can get healthier on the defensive side, and they're not afraid of any team in the division, which is a positive thing if you're trying to get a seed in the tournament.
For the 49ers, I'm still looking at a team that's not getting what they need out of their star running back. Yes, just a second data size here for Christian McCaffrey, and Deebo Samuel has not been featured in the way that he was in this offense in years past. We know he's been dinged up, but got to get more from now number 1 and number 23. Atlanta, also a conversation to be had in the NFC South. With the Bucs banged up the way they are, this was Atlanta's division. You now lose to the Saints, and you lose another game here on Sunday. This is a team that needs a turnaround. It looks like they need a jolt of life. Where do they find that? Because for as good and as solid as Kirk Cousins is, he is not a jolt. He is a manager. He is a great quarterback. He is someone who keeps you on the rails. Hasn't been spectacular as of late, Where does he and where do they need to be better?
They have to protect Kirk Cousins better. They didn't do a great job in protecting Kirk Cousins today against the Denver Broncos. And this was a great test for Atlanta, coming off a loss on the road to a divisional foe in the New Orleans Saints, back on the road playing against a very, very desperate-like team in the Denver Broncos, who do a great job in putting pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Well, Atlanta, unfortunately, you failed. Right? Now, what is next? Because to your point, Joe, they had a nice, comfortable lead amongst the teams in their division. But because of 2 winnable games, in my opinion, that you did not win, you've made this race closer than what it should have been. And with Tampa, yes, Atlanta, you got to look in your rear view because you beat Tampa twice this season.
Yeah.
But they're getting healthier.
Not just a lead in that division, but also 2 teams that had laid down at that point in the Saints and in the Carolina Panthers. Yes, they've come back off the mat just a bit, but going to challenge for a division? I don't think so. And then a team in the Buccaneers who lost their entire wide receiving core in a 40-minute span.
Let's keep this schedule up. Look at Tampa's schedule the rest of the way. Look at their schedule. Giants, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers, Saints.
The Chargers are the only game that should be 1 score.
Should be. Now, granted, anything can happen, but if you look at the Buccaneers' schedule and how well they've played in some losses, being short-handed when it comes to key players and potentially getting some of those guys back, the bye week happened at the best moment.
It's an easy road home.
And now they're getting healthier when you look at their schedule because some of the teams they lost to, great teams, really good teams, but Tampa was throwing blows also. It wasn't like they laid down like we saw with Atlanta today. So Atlanta, they've made this very, very entertaining, unfortunately, because if they took care of their business, just let's say against the Saints, you just fired the head coach, you were better than the Saints. The Saints played better football than you. Now you're making this thing very, very interesting moving forward because you didn't take care of your business like you're supposed to, and now we're starting to see some vulnerable areas on your team. Let's see, can they rectify their demons?
He's going to be with us the whole time until we figure it all out. Bryant McFadden, thank you. They say sometimes if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. Team victory, but Josh Allen, with the game on the line, took it into his own hands. Literally. Rumbling in from 20-some out. The proverbial nail in the coffin. And a streak ender with Allen and the Bills taking down the Chiefs and bringing to an end a 15-game win streak. And to talk a little bit of AFC playoff picture, Bryant McFadden, we're going to get to your Pittsburgh Steelers, I promise. Let's start right there with those Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And I know, again, team win, but talk to me about what this win meant for Josh Allen. Greatness already personified, but that doesn't mean we cannot reach new heights. This felt like another level from the quarterback.
It did because in moments where it felt like Kansas City was starting to creep back into this ball game, similar to what we've seen from the Chiefs the entire season, Josh Allen said, no, not on my watch. I'm going to take over this game. The defining play for me with the Buffalo Bills in the fourth quarter is 4th and 2, 4th and 3. Coach McDermott decides to go for it. It's a pass that was called. Josh did not see any of his pass catchers with any separation from the defender. He said, I'm going to make a play, and I'm okay with that because he has earned the right to do so. Become a +1 in the running game. Not only did he convert the 4th down play, he scored 7 points, icing on top. And that's what makes him elite. The ability to say, everyone get out of the way, it's my football, and I'm scoring.
Recognition of that moment.
Facts. And he was, the thing about Josh that I liked with Josh this season and looking at what he did in today's matchup against the Chiefs, he does that at the right time. You know, in years past, when you look at some of the turnovers that was associated with his play, he was pressing, trying to make things happen that was not there. He waits for the right time, and whenever he sees that Batman signal in the air, that's when he showed up. They showed it, the signal. Josh, we need you. Come save us. Come bail us out. Guess what? I'm here. And that's what makes him the player that he is. Because he has that ability, but you cannot press and try to force things because when you're playing against good competition, usually that puts you in a vulnerable position.
Your original point rings so true. It's a drive and a play that came in response to, oh no, not again. A 10-play, 70-yard drive from the Kansas City Chiefs to get it back to 1 score, and then a 4th down opportunity to stop and give the ball back to your all-world quarterback. And Josh Allen says, not this time.
No question.
An amazing play, an amazing game by the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. We had to wait all day for a data point between the Bengals and the Los Angeles Chargers, but we learned some things. These two teams are exactly who they are, and that moment, late in game, maybe revealed a little bit more of it. What'd you take away from this matchup, and how does it imply what you expect to see down the stretch? Because math says the Bengals are still alive. Math tells you that the Chargers are also a playoff team. Do you believe both of those things to be true?
No. I believe, one, the Chargers, they're a legit playoff team. I felt like coming into this matchup, Joe, we would learn more about the Chargers than about the Chiefs. Because in their 6 wins before tonight's matchup, you look at the quarterbacks they faced off against, the teams they faced off against, not really noteworthy outside of the Denver Broncos led by rookie quarterback Bo Nix. But when you look at what the Chargers did tonight and how they dominated, and granted, Cincinnati made plays to get back into this ball game, they found a way to seal the deal. So the way they played, being more, aggressive in throwing the football, they're telling all of us, listen, we're not just a run-oriented team. We still have a quarterback that can throw it amongst the best of them. And when he was put on display in tonight's matchup, he lived up to the billing. So I learned more about the Chargers than I did Cincinnati. I came into this game not really believing we could trust Cincinnati. I came into this game believing Cincinnati, they don't know how to finish games. And guess what? Both things was true tonight. And because of that, I understand mathematically speaking, they said there's a 10% chance for the Bengals to still get into the playoffs. I'm not believing that 10%.
They got to start rooting against the Broncos is what it looks like. Because teams are starting to fall into place. Seeding is starting to make sense, but can't make sense of the offensive explosion of the Cincinnati Bengals not equaling wins. It's just not team football, or at least not at the right times. I made you wait. Let's talk Steelers. Massive win against the Baltimore Ravens, who a couple weeks ago looked unbeatable in moments. What did the Steelers do so well on this day, and how does that make you feel about who they could be come December, January?
The way they contained Lamar Jackson, the MVP front runner in today's matchup, the way they contained Derrick Henry. Yes, Derrick Henry did score a touchdown, but outside of that,
that's going to happen.
He didn't really do too much. That's impressive. Now, they've had success against Lamar Jackson, but the Lamar Jackson that came into Acrisure Stadium was a guy playing to a whole nother level. But they brought him back down to dear life. And yes, you didn't get a lot from the offense, but they put you in positions to win this ball game. And think about this. For the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat one of the more talented teams offensively, one of the more explosive offenses in the National Football League in terms of points per ball game, for the Steelers to beat the Ravens without scoring one touchdown.
That's crazy.
That right there is unbelievable. They beat Lamar Jackson, not scoring one touchdown.
They got 2 wins like that this season. No touchdowns, come away victorious, but against the Ravens, another thing.
Against the Ravens is one thing because, like I said, the Ravens offensively were averaging around 30 points per ball game. Lamar Jackson was putting up video game-like numbers. The same can be said for King Henry at the running back position. Over the last few weeks, Mark Andrews has been showing up. Everything has been clicking offensively, so one would think if you told all of us Pittsburgh would not score one touchdown in this ball game, I don't know if there would be one person that believed Pittsburgh could still win the game. I don't care if you've been a Steeler fan your entire life. When it comes to the reality side of things and just watching the Baltimore Ravens, no one would have believed that, except one person, Mike Tomlin.
He's been fantastic. And to Coach T's credit, a lot of people this preseason said this is going to be the year where he doesn't break that 500
mark. A lot of people, hold on, let's bring up the receipts. A lot of people said the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to finish dead last, best case scenario, 3rd in the division. A lot of people said his above 500 streak would come to an end this season. A lot of people said they had no shot to get into the playoffs. A lot of people were saying a lot of things. Well, how about now?
We'd offered him a platform.
This is not a rocking chair, but I feel like I should have a rocking moment.
You've earned it.
And I'm rocking.
A fantastic win from the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's got this man feeling all types of ways. 1 win away from that continued streak of 500 or better, but they got better designs than that in Pittsburgh. A massive victory against the Baltimore Ravens. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir.
And to the Steelers.